Pop Punk and Pizza podcast is presented by Pop Punk Takeout, which is a monthly subscription service that delivers merch from pop punk artists from all over the world directly to your door in a takeout box. You can learn more and sign up today at poppunktakeout.com. Also, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Pop Punk Takeout.
I'm going out, I gotta go. I'll bang a rang on the radio. So turn it up, I'm telling you. I think I'm ready for something new. Hey, hello, it's nice to meet ya. Hey, come in and have a slice of pizza. Hey, hello, it's nice to meet ya. Hey, come in and have a slice of pizza.
You're listening to Pop Punk and Pizza with Jacques Lamour.
Hello and welcome to Pop Punk and Pizza. I'm, of course, Jacques Lamour, your host. Forever grateful that you downloaded this podcast. And if this is your first time, an extra welcome. I'm really glad that you're giving it a shot, and I hope you like what you hear. It's been 5 years already since Pop Punk and Pizza has launched. And to celebrate 5 years, we had a special T-shirt created by my good friend Dev Parker from an awesome band called Till Morning. He's designed stuff for bands like Less Than Jake and so many others. He came up with a Chinese lucky cat eating pizza for us, just because we've been so lucky these last 5 years. And I absolutely love this cat. Like, I really want to be this cat. He's holding pizza. He's got the box open. He's got his other paw on the rest of the pizza. And so that's one of the ways we're celebrating 5 years being a podcast. So if you want to get the Chinese lucky pizza cat, is what I call it, you can go to poppunkpizzapod.com and snag your shirt today. So got a super duper loaded show. I can't believe I just said super duper. Just got a super lineup for you on this show. We always do, and it's loaded with ska punk today. We are going to be welcomed by the legendary David Mcwane of Big D and the Kids Table. Coming up in just a little bit, we're going to talk about Big D's new record, which is dropping next month in October, called Do Your Art. But before Dave comes on, I had to do a pre-recorded interview with Dave just because our schedules didn't align. So it won't exactly be live for the live stream, but it still happened, and it was still a lot of fun. Before we welcome Dave onto the podcast, I would like to welcome from a new ska punk music project is Matt Sullivan from a band called Title Holder. Welcome, Matt. Whoops. I'm already messing up. I keep hitting wrong buttons. There we go. How's Matt doing?
Matt's doing great, Jacques Lamour. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic now that you're here.
So much for having me on this wonderful podcast. Also, congratulations on 5 years. That is so friggin' cool.
Thank you. Yeah, it's so weird to think it's been 5 years already.
They say the day long, but the years are short.
Yeah, that's so true, man. I keep like thinking back. I was like scrolling through episodes the other day, and I'm like, wow, some of these bands don't even exist anymore. And it's like, man, and it just seems so long ago. But here we are, and I'm glad you're part of the 5 years, Matt.
I am honored, and also honored to be on the Dave Mcwane Big D and the Kids Table episode. This couldn't have been cooler.
Yeah, I agree. It worked out well. We were talking about this before we hit the live stream, how it just the scheduling just worked out beautifully to have two ska punk artists on the same show, especially considering Title Holder is brand new, and Big D has obviously been around for quite a long time now and garnered quite a name for themselves in the ska punk community. So hopefully it helps Title Holder out a little bit. Now
I'm still waiting for him to, accept my friend requests, but maybe he will after this.
Maybe. I don't know. I sent him a Facebook friend request as well. I'm not sure if he accepted it, but you can like follow him even
He
if
actually did. He did accept it the other day, and when I posted that I was doing this interview, I saw the pop up that he liked it, and I was like texting my girlfriend like, he liked it, he liked it, he liked it.
awesome.
Um,
So let's get into title holder. How did that come into play? Is it because from like that first email you sent me back in, I think it was June, I was under the impression that it was just you, and now do you have an actual band around you, or what's how did it start and what's the current status?
yeah, so last year pandemic hits and I lose my job, and I kind of was going through this like soul searching, like trying to figure out what the next move was going to be. I had been a part of a couple bands in the past, but for about a year everybody was in limbo, nothing was happening, and everybody that I was situated with was figuring out what they were going to do. And so I kind of had this moment where I was like, you know what, I for 20 years almost have always wanted to be in a ska band. I'm not going to sit around anymore. I'm just going to do it. So it's like April 2020, and I just started kind of demoing out some stuff in my little home studio that I have here. And I'm listening to old Boss Tones records. I'm listening to old Big D records, and I'm kind of grabbing inspiration from what I was listening to back in high school. And I started writing a couple songs, and lo and behold, it's the first episode of Krista Makes a Podcast on last June. And at the very end of it, he says, hey, I'm open to submissions. If anybody wants some help in producing some songs, give me a shout. Let me know. Here's my email. So I sent him a song, and he hit me back and he said, let's work together. This is cool. And that started snowballing the entire project. Immediately, what was kind of just going to be I'll write a couple ska songs. I said, oh my God, he emailed me back. All right, I got to take this a little more seriously. So I got to work. We started doing Zoom calls every other week. We would hop on. He would listen to my song, critique it, tell me, hey, this line is really cool. Hey, you should add a pre-chorus here. Check this out. And every single song he would kind of produce and help me with the arrangement. Fast forward to February of 2021, we finished 7 songs, and now it's time to go to the studio. I had been working with Nick Braziz of Man Overboard, who is currently at a studio in South Jersey called the Gradwell House. And I hit him up and I said, hey, I'm ready to do all these songs. Can you help me out and, record this record for me, mix it? And he goes, I'll do you one better. Can I play drums for you on it? And I went, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, can you? Oh, sure.
No, sorry, Nick. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't. No, thanks.
Yeah.
I don't want your name on my on my in part of my recording.
Yeah. So we started the last week of February. We went in for 8 days or 7 or 8 days, and we hashed out all the songs. And he was the one that, I said, I've got all these ska songs. Nick, you know any horn players? And so Nick was like, yeah, I know a few. He calls up Matt Stewart from Streetlight Manifesto. He calls up Dave Heck from Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties. He's also in a phenomenal punk band called the Bad Ups. And he calls up John James Ryan from Keep Flying. And he says, hey, my buddy Matt is real good people. He's got some cool songs. Would you guys want to play on these? Sends them the songs. They all signed on to do just the recording session. So we all meet. I had known John from previous bands, but we never, besides going, hey, dude, how you doing? We didn't really ever hang out much. They came in. We spent the entire last day of the studio sessions, just everybody blasting their horns, taking lots of footage. I've got a great behind the scenes video that I'm going to release in a couple weeks as kind of like a little surprise. But it was just super cool. And at the end of the session, I know Matt's super busy with Streetlight, but Dave and John both said, we love this. We're in. When you need players, Like, you don't have to hire us, just call us and we'll be there. And I was just like, yes, yes.
Dude, wow.
Yeah. So I'm trying to not ramble, but
No, 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 no. You're not rambling at all. You're telling your story, and I'm
yeah,
very engaged by it.
thank you. Thank you. So it comes time, now that we've got the session done, we're getting everything mastered. We all decided that Animal was going to be the first single. So there's a phenomenal videographer and director. His name's Sean Ageman. He has a company called Washed Up Media, and I've been working with him for years on every project as far as a music video is concerned. So we lined up this music video, and then I said, crap, like, I don't have like anybody but two horn players and me. So I started just reaching out to my social circle, people that I've been working with in other bands, people who I've gone and watched play before. And so a really talented songwriter, his name's Dan Burke. I reached out to him and I said, hey, I need a bass player for this video. You're an amazing bass player. Would you play? He goes, yes. I reach out to my longtime friend, Chase Shutter, who's been in every band that I've had since I lived in New York. I asked him, hey, can you play drums? I always make you look cool in my videos. Can you do it? He goes, yeah. And then I reached out to my friend Andrew Nikolai, who he also has an awesome solo project called Anna. And I said, hey, I need someone to look cool and play guitar. Like, be that guy for me. And everybody immediately listened to the song and they were like, we're there for you. You just tell us when to show up. After the last 30 days of seeing like all the excitement that this video has gotten and all the support we've been getting, everybody has just like hands down said, like, we're your band now. Like, when the shows start coming, just tell us where to go. We'll be there. So that's what's happening. There is a band behind it now. I am still trying to find a full-time trumpet player. But Matt Stewart, I will invite you to play with us anytime you're available.
Awesome. Well, I'll start brushing up on my my trumpet chops. I do have my trumpet actually in the other room.
You're hired.
Yeah, you haven't even heard me. I haven't played in it's probably been like 15 years or
Enough
20 years.
stage, some cannot play and it'll still just look cool.
I can do that. I mean, I could. What? I guess it's not lip sync. It's trump sync, trumpet
Horn
sync,
syncing.
horn sync. There we go. Horn
sync.
sync. Yeah, I can do that. So
Hired.
yes.
When we play Chicago, you will be on stage.
You can pay me in pizza.
I'm
Gonna be-
sure that we're gonna be good friends. I would like to be paid as well.
Awesome. So when you started working with Chris DeMakes of Less Than Jake, what was the song that you first sent him? Was it Animal?
No. So there is a song called Story of My Life. And that was the first one. I was really going for this like mighty Boss Tones vibe on this song. And in a couple months, that one will come out and us having this conversation will go, oh, I hear it now. But I really wanted, when that chorus hit, I really wanted that, like, the sound of like 5 dudes screaming something in the background. So that's what the chorus is. It sounds really fun. But yeah, that song will be out probably January. I'm actually going to the studio in a couple weeks to see Nick because my mind is constantly working and I can't stop it. And I was listening to it the other day and I was like, oh, I need to change something. So I booked a day with Nick. He's like, all right, dude. All right. Yeah, you come on in.
That's awesome. Now, when you first started working with Chris, you showed him that particular song. What were some of the things you kind of mentioned, like the pre-chorus and things like that, but what were the other influences that he had throughout all the songs?
Lyrically, I mean, he really brought the best out of me in that aspect. Like, it was really cool because, listening to his podcast, he does a deep dive on all the artists, like, on that one song. And he sits there and he reads the lyrics, like, he reads them back to you as if it's a story. And it's really entertaining just to hear Chris talk lyrics to somebody instead of sing them.
Yeah.
But, you know, was the first time that I had somebody, you know, put my lyrics under a microscope and go like, what are you really talking about here? What is the story that we're trying to convey? And it kind of really put a lot of stuff into perspective for me. And I was like, oh, okay, like I need to be able to tell a story to someone who has no idea who the hell I am. And so that was a big thing. He helped me really trim the fat. That was like his line was like, you know, get rid of these throwaway words like, or, you know, just and but, like tell the story as little words, but as meaningful as you can. And so when we would look at one of my songs, that was like my homework for the next week. You know, the arrangement always got done on the first session that we would have together. And then it was, all right, I got to get these lyrics cool. And that was kind of that was how we did it. And it was super useful for me. I think that throughout the months of working with him, I became 10 times the songwriter that I was before it. And I'm super grateful that he was willing to work with me, and I can't wait to do more.
The line, what is it, pot to piss in?
Yeah. I need a
that
cold coffee and a pot to piss in.
Yeah, for some reason, the first time I heard the song Animal and I heard that line, I thought, God, that sounds like something Chris would write. And so
No.
I guess that's why I was asking. To me, I don't know, for some reason, I don't know if it was just because I knew his name had
Yeah,
been
yeah.
attached to, you know, he was helping you, produce the songs and stuff. But for some reason, I'm like, that sounds like a very Chris DeMakes line, you know.
With Animal, he he actually really saved my butt on that one, because his big contribution to Animal was that chorus. I actually had an F-bomb in it. I had shouldn't have given you my effing real name. And he was like, dude, this chorus is catchy. Get rid of the F-bomb. People are going to want to play this. Like, this could get radio placement. This could go somewhere that, you know, you're not thinking about right now. The one thing you should do, get the F-bomb out. And I was like, all right, I don't need it. I was just trying to be sassy.
That-
I'll do it live. I'll do the F-bomb live and really, you know, mix it up. But you know, after listening back, as soon as we recorded the vocals, I like texted him and I was like, you were so right.
He's like, well, no shit, dude. He's like, I've been doing this since before you were born.
The plaque, so
Look at my wall of Grammys.
but on top of all that stuff, one thing that I didn't mention is, so we finished the recording session. You know, I've got Dave Heck, I've got Matt Stewart, I've got John James Ryan. Everything is amazing. It's like 4 weeks after the sessions. Every day I'm listening to these songs over and over and over again. And I was like, how cool would it be to have just like some like more powerful trombone in like one side of the ear? And I hit up Chris and I said, hey, any chance like Buddy from Less Than Jake would be interested, or does he even have the time? Chris goes, oh, here's his email. Shoot him a message. So I sent him the songs, asked him if he wanted to, at his place, record and send the stems back to me. And he was like, yeah, absolutely. So on all these recordings, there's doubled trombone. There's also harmonized trombone. And in the new song that's coming out tonight, there's actually a dueling trombone solo that Dave Heck wrote one part and Buddy Schwab from Less Than Jake wrote the other part. And it's so fun. And yeah, I'm so excited for people to hear it.
So let's talk about that song, the new song that's dropping then. I apologize. What was the name of the new song again? It was Empty Apartment, right?
Got it. You got it.
Okay.
Yep.
So listening to it, it definitely brought me back to the one empty apartment that I had to leave and move back in with my parents. And so it brought up some memories that were like, man, that was hard. You know?
That one kind of, that was another like really good call on Chris's end. So that song was basically 2 songs when it started. The whole vibe of it, that whole fun reggae feel and kind of You know, the boom jep boom jep. That
Yep.
whole thing was just the beginning, and the way I originally wrote it, it just like immediately like cut out like you know when like the needle of a record player gets pulled off the record, and then
Yeah.
and then it just went into this like no effects, do that, do that, do that, and so I send this to Chris, and he's like, This is absolutely two different songs. Both are cool, but this thing you got going on in the beginning, that's a whole vibe. That needs to be a song. Start working on that and call me next week. And I was like, okay, all right, okay, all right. And it literally just like popped out of nowhere. Like the words for that song came to me while I was like hashing out the guitar parts. And but that was the whole vibe of that particular song, was like, let's think about the imagery of like your last night in that apartment that you just spent so many years in. I was thinking back to, you know, my college years living in Boston, and you know, all right, you know what, why don't we just all stay up until the morning and we'll move dead tired and hungover and load up the vans. And yeah, that was basically where that one came from.
In isn't it incredible when you work with someone that's been, you know, doing it for so long, and they just off the bat they're like, oh yeah, you need to do this, and you're like, it's like a why didn't I think of that kind of moment, you
I
know?
I spent so long and in so many projects, always, not always, but thinking I was right. I would like always thinking that like this is the direction it should go. And I really like this actually started a couple of years back when I started working with Nick Braziz. I really started listening to, all right, you know, these guys have experience, you know, they've all been part of very successful projects. Maybe it would be a good idea to like throw my ego on the floor and like just listen to what somebody else has to say about
Yeah.
my song. And just through a couple of years of like cultivating that mentality of like, I'm not always right. Like, you know, taking an outside opinion, also taking the opinion of somebody who's not like emotionally attached to the song the way I am, you know, because if I had it my way, every song would be 5 minutes long and would have 7 choruses, you know. So, you know, but you know, to take that advice from Chris and from Nick and just try to really think about how other people are going to listen to this, but still, you know, I'm still doing it for me, but I'm just trying to keep an open mind.
Absolutely. What were some of the other projects you were involved in, or some of the other bands?
So I had a band when I moved to New York in 20 from Boston. I had like a metal band out in Boston. Um, that was very interesting. That band was called Odysseus. When I moved here, I started a band called Mcwane of Fire, and that was a fairly successful local project. Like we got on some big shows whenever there was a tour that stopped in the city that was kind of in the pop punk vein. We would get an invitation to be an opener. 2018, we were invited by Rishi from the band Eternal Boy out of Pittsburgh. He throws a 4-chord fest every year.
Okay, yep. Yep.
Yeah, he invited us to play that, and that was kind of like I made it. Like my kind of fire is going to be the biggest thing ever. And but it's funny because that show, the headliner was Bayside, Anti-Flag, and Less Than Jake. And I still have the poster somewhere over there. I haven't put it in a frame yet, but I will someday. But I was in my
Come
kind
on,
of
it's 2021, man. You got to get it in a frame by now.
maybe when I move out of this small little place, maybe when this apartment's empty and I get a new one.
Empty Apartment version 2 will come out.
Finally hung up my 4-chord fest poster.
See, there you go.
It's just coming to me right now.
Yeah.
I played guitar in a band called Legend of You, which was kind of an easy core pop punk thing, and that was a lot of fun. Did some touring with that band in 2016. But just like little projects that, you know, I'm still close with all of them. I'm still playing music with a lot of those same guys. Chase, my drummer, he was in my drummer in My Kind of Fire. So we've all kept in touch. There's no bad blood whatsoever with any of them. You know, it's just things have a tendency to run their course, and people grow up and go their own directions, you know.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So, what else can you tell us about title holder before we play Animal? Because I definitely want to play that, and people that are watching the live stream or the video version of this later to watch the video. But yeah, where can people find you on social? Obviously, the new single "Empty Apartment" everyone should check out. What else?
So on social, for the most part, all of our handles are Title Holder Music. On Twitter, it's Title Holder Band. I have joined TikTok, so I do a lot of very interesting content on TikTok. My personal handle is MTS Audio, but follow the Title Holder one because that would mean a lot more to me than me giving my daily thoughts to teenagers. I just feel so old saying that. Teenagers, the little kids.
Teenagers.
Fun fact though, so this is something really cool about Animal. When we were working out what we wanted the music video to be, I had this whole elaborate, like, I was like storyboarding stuff, and I was gonna like walk through a house and talk to the camera and all this stuff. No joke. The night before the video shoot, we watched Big D and the Kids Table's new video for Too Much.
Huh.
And
Wow.
yeah, and my girlfriend Danielle and I are sitting there, and we're watching this video, and we're both going, "This is the coolest shit ever!" Like, it's so simple but so cool, and like the fast camera movements and stuff. And so, no joke, night before the video shoot, we're everything's packed and in the car. Videographer is got all his gear. I text Sean, and I'm like, "This is what I want to do for the video. I want to do something that looks like this. I want some colors." And he goes, "I got you, bro. I'll bring all the color lights and everything like that." And so we show up to the place that we shot. And the first thing Sean says to me when he gets out of his car is he's like, "I watched the Big D video. We're shooting everything in fisheye." And I went, "Cool. All right. Yeah, whatever." So, fun fact that ties in this episode even more is that, I was so enamored with how that video looked. Within 24 hours notice, we adjusted everything to not copy it, but to just do our own play on it.
That's awesome. Wow.
But
That's so strange too. It's such a
Yeah.
coincidence.
Yeah. But Title Holder Music on all the socials. We're getting ready to set up some shows for early 2022. We're gonna let each one of these songs roll out about 4 to 5 weeks apart with video content for every single song, and we'll be doing that until February. At which point in February, I have another 14 that I need to let Chris pick apart and destroy.
All right. Well, we can't wait to hear those. But in the meantime, we'll just enjoy the singles as they come out.
I can't wait for you all to hear it because I'm so proud of them, and I think I've really put my life force into this new band, and I'm so stoked.
All right. Well, I'm stoked for you, Matt. I really am.
Thank you, Jacques Lamour.
I'm just gonna hire you to just say my name on even though like Chris DeMakes already says my name in the intro song. I just want to have you just say Jacques Lamour. I just love your enthusiasm, the way you say it. It's great.
I'll make a couple sound bites that you can start putting on the iPad to just trigger. like I'll do like a happy one, a sad one,
There
like
we
an
go.
anthem.
Yeah,
Lamour.
yeah, like you bastard, Jacques Lamour. All right, Matt. Well, this has been so much fun. Let's go ahead and listen and watch Animal. All right?
Thank you so much.
Yep, you have a great rest of the night.
You do.
Thanks.
Can't believe what I'm seeing. Caught you leaving in the morning on the chariot. She crawled up from a handheld device that you carried up. I need a quick second to make sense of this. A cold cup of coffee and a pot to piss, and I listen.
title holder with Animal here on Pop Punk and Pizza Podcast. Thank you again to Matt Sullivan for being on the show. It was quite a pleasure to talk with him and hear how Animal came about. And honestly, now the chorus of that song, it's going to be stuck in my head for the rest of the night because I remember the first couple times I listened to it, it it grabbed me just like that. So thank you so much to Matt. And before we welcome Dave Mcwane, or I should say it's a pre-recorded conversation I had with Dave earlier today from Big D and the Kids Table, please support our title sponsor, which is Pop Punk Takeout. What they do is they take exclusive merchandise from pop punk artists from all over the world, put it in a pizza takeout box, or they put it in a Chinese food takeout box, and they ship it once a month directly to your door. They've worked with such bands as MXPX. They've worked with, we've been talking about Krista Makes, a lot of Less Than Jake. They've actually worked with Krista Makes as well. Keep Flying, which another band we've talked about tonight. And I know for October, they're going to be featuring Pizza Beard Party and also What Makes Sense. What Makes Sense has actually been on Pop Punk and Pizza before. So if you want to sign up or subscribe, which you should, to Pop Punk Takeout, go to poppunktakeout.com. And you can also follow them on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at Pop Punk Takeout. Now, without further ado, let's get to my conversation with David Mcwane of Big D and the Kids Table. For Dave or David, by the way?
I like to write David, but it doesn't matter. It's just because like when you write Dave, I feel like I'm writing like Blaze or like some 80s bad guy name. You know what I mean? Like,
hey, Dave!
Here's this really important email. Yeah! You know?
It's so funny because that's the kind of guy I picture too, and I think it just goes back to my childhood, and I guess you referenced the 80s, so that would be your childhood. I think there were two Daves that lived on my street growing up that were neighbors. And of course they were older than me. They were like my parents' age, you know.
Okay.
And they were totally those type of guys that you just said, like just it's Dave, you know, like they're always like they're always like drinking beer and you know, causing some kind of commotion in the neighborhood, you know. So
they're the ones that introduce you to all the bad things.
I mean, to a certain degree, yeah. But I just think of like just a blue collar dude, you know, hanging outside his house drinking beer. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, we all have our, you know, all have our things. But so I guess Dave, it is Dave or David.
It's a double edge because it's like Dave's like and then David's like, oh, who do you think you are? You know what I mean?
It is. It's true. There's no middle. Davey, is that a middle ground?
Davey, my mom definitely calls me Davey, and I think like one other person I ever met, and it was like okay. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I had started, you know, like. You know, I always think those names are charming. The ones I can't think of other ones because Charlie's different. But you know what I mean, like with the Y, you know.
Yes.
So like, maybe if it was like that from the beginning, it would be okay. But I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you could always reintroduce yourself at some point with a different name if you really wanted to. Although I suppose that would have been better to do when you released. What was it? 1 or 2 years ago, you released like a solo.
Oh yeah, Cuidado.
Release. Yeah.
Yeah, that should have been Davey.
that would have been that would have been the time to do something like Davey, I suppose.
But you got to add like the good last name, like Davey Brick Smasher or like Davey Bottle Popper. You know, like that.
I like Dave Bottle Popper. Now you got something going there. I like that Davey Bottle Popper.
Just give it to him.
Yeah, I'm. What do you call him, Bottle Popper? Well, give him a bottle.
Give him a bottle. Go find out.
Go find out. Well, David, Davey, it is. So I'm just gonna call you every single name, just to cover the bases. It's so good to have you on Pop Punk and Pizza. Thanks for taking a little bit of time out of your day. I know you're a busy guy. So you know, Big D and the Kids Table, Do Your Art. It's your 9th record, which is really I'm still trying to soak that into my brain because I was 14 when I had first heard of you guys at Vans Warped Tour. And in fact, I was trying to find it before our chat here, but I still to this day have a what do they call them? Do they call them wristbands like the
Oh, yeah.
sports like sweatbands?
Okay. So if you had one of those, would it be safe to say it was 2004 or 5?
It was 2004.
I
Yeah.
know the years by our merch.
Right. I mean that it's true. Like if you ever forget, you just got to show someone a piece of merch, and like that can kind of help you give a reference. Be like, oh yeah,
Definitely.
that was during the the
Yeah.
Do Your Art cycle, or whatever. Like you would know. But yeah, it was. I think I had just. I'm almost positive that was the year that I discovered Big D and the Kids Table, and I still wanted to support you guys, but I didn't have like a ton of money, so I think I bought one of those,
Yeah.
and also I bought one to look cool because I would wear, and I actually still do once in a while, and I'll wear the Big D and the Kids Table sweatband is to protect that part of my wrist or my arm wherever it needs to go. From like getting some type of rash on my guitar. You know what I mean? Like the whole sweat. It's really gross to talk about, but
And you can do the forehead with it.
the the forehead, yeah.
Well, I have a wristband story. I recently, in lockdown terms, recently meaning like 2.5 years ago or 2 years ago. Like if lockdown didn't happen, it was just the other day.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I was at an Iron Maiden concert, and Dave Murray, the guitar player, threw his wristband, and I got it.
Wow. Was it really sweaty?
It was okay. It was
It
okay.
it was just mild, like
Yeah,
temporarily.
perfectly spritzed by the artist.
Did you like vacuum seal it after that when you went home?
I
Like
put
the-
it like this isn't my desk I'm talking to you from, but like it's in the spot, like that, so you can always see it.
Mhm.
The big
Yeah.
deal spot.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got to keep it in that special spot so you can forever remember it, or when you need that
That little-
inspiration.
There was one
Yeah.
day where I had to do something, and I was like, I'm wearing it.
Was it for something Big D related?
Yeah, it was something Big D related, but like I don't know. I think it was to go to the music video, to go to the videos. I was maybe like a little nervous about to do the videos, And so I was like, why don't you get a little Dave Murray on?
I mean, Iron Maiden would definitely give you a boost,
Oh,
and
definitely.
I mean, just the name alone is enough. It's like Iron Maiden, and that just goes to show that Iron Maiden can be a part of ska punk music. I mean,
I'm still trying to figure out how to write and rip off, if you will, Can I Play With Madness, the song, into a ska song. It like kind of works. It's sometimes when I'm kind of done with it, I'm like, good job. And I'm like, but no one needs this.
But why not? It could be a great B-side, or like, it could have been like the Do Your Art deluxe album that you put out a year from now, that kind of thing.
It will happen. I've tried so hard that it won't not happen. I will rip them off.
Is there any? It's gonna happen, I promise.
All the metalheads are like, not another ska band messing up our stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like the world hasn't actually. I feel like the ska community, not enough band. Either that, or I'm just not knowledgeable enough. Have heard enough ska covers of metal songs.
There was a Metallica that was put out, which was an all ska bands doing metal songs, which is like blasphemy. But
I thought you were gonna tell me it was all Metallica songs.
Oh no, we did Iron Maiden from Iron Maiden, of course.
Okay, right. You have to do that. I guess I must have missed that one.
Yeah, just going back with the dates you were saying, I would say that came out at like 2003. So yeah. I could
Okay.
be so wrong though.
It's still wrong. Ska bands shouldn't be covering metal bands.
Well, it's funny. I find that ska listeners, ska fans, are a lot like metal fans. Like they're devoted, they're positive. Like because like when you go to some shows, some people, it's like socializing is a big part of going to the show. Seeing
Absolutely.
Tanya, maybe she'll notice me. You know what I mean? But like metal and ska fans go for the bands. It's
Yeah.
like they might have a social circle, but they could be alone at the show and it wouldn't matter. You know what I mean?
That's true. There is a lot more of that at metal shows, and
Yeah, it's like I'm going for the bands. You know what I mean?
and it's so funny you say that because ska fans and metal fans just don't like each other, but they're they're so similar now that you bring it up. I don't know why. I never thought about that before.
I think usually what it is the ska fans like everybody. It's just everybody doesn't like the ska fans. Ska fans are putting it in there. They're open.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're also extremely dedicated, and so are the metal fans too. Although, gosh, I don't know, both genres have the purists, though.
I would, but you're so right. But I would say the purists in the ska community are more the traditional ska, because they start to get more like jazz cats, if you will.
Yes.
That term. And jazz cats can be quite rude. No pun intended.
And I'm sure, like, I would think Big D has probably experienced that over the years because, I mean,
Well, we have, yeah. But it's
Yeah.
funny because it's always one of those things where it's like, it'd be kind of like they'd go, I wouldn't wear it. Like this isn't really what they would say, but it's kind of like they'd be like, I wouldn't wear that, and then Big D would be kind of be like, yeah, but we don't want to, like we don't want to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, so oftentimes we're not ska enough for the ska elite, the ska purists, and we're not punk enough for the punk but the like the rah punks, but that's fine.
Yeah, that's something I've heard other ska punk bands say as well. I want to say someone from Real Big Fish had said that before too.
Oh,
That they weren't punk enough for the punk kids, they weren't ska enough for the ska kids. And I would say Big D definitely fits into that category as well, because when I've been asked, like, oh, what does Big D and the Kids Table sound like? I really can't think of another ska punk band that you sound like.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I love that, because the last thing I want to do is something over again. You know what I mean? Like, now it's my turn to play this song.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like you can definitely tell that Big D is from the East Coast, but other than that, I wouldn't say, oh, they kind of sound like Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, or they sound like Streetlight Manifesto, or they like it that doesn't, that doesn't work.
It's kind of like the Boss Tones thing. They had the ska core thing.
Yes.
And still do. I would say like hardcore bands more influenced Big D than punk, but then the known crop of punk bands that really inspired most ska punk bands.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But one good funny thing to say about Real Big Fish though is I kind of like my journey. Like if we're talking about like haters in a way, I was a little bit back in the day. Not a little bit. I when Real Big Fish came out, like we were doing Big D, and I liked the Boss Stones, and I liked hardcore music, and I liked the Specials, the dark. They're kind of like a dark ska band.
Very serious.
Yeah.
And
like then you go on to like Suicide Machines, and so I knew all of these things. And then when Real Big Fish came out, I definitely was like, no, what is going on? No, right? But it's just so funny because my journey it's just been one of those like lighten up, and I've gone on tour with them so much, and I get it. And it was that I didn't quite get it at first, but I love them, and I get the music, I get the humor, I get the juxtaposition of everything. But I really love to self-analyze myself with Real Big Fish.
Yeah.
You know?
So how does the self-analyzing usually go?
Well, just that I was being too American about it.
Yeah.
Like Americans really identify themselves so hyper turbo with music. They almost want you to know more what they don't like than what they like. Like, I like the Misfits and I do not like Miley Cyrus. You know what I mean? And you're like, okay.
You're like, all right, I didn't even say anything about
Yeah.
Miley Cyrus, but okay.
Yeah, and then going back to what you're saying about the purists, like it's just that song, simmer down. It's like, simmer down, guys, you know. And it's not until you like leave the States and you start, you know, seeing different festivals all over the world that you see that people are just enjoying music and they're not worried about it. You know, I guess everyone, you know, a lot of us Americans miss the memo of it's okay to like a lot of music. You know what I mean?
I think they're slowly getting the memo.
Hopefully.
You know, I think they are. I could be wrong, but I think they're getting there. I feel like the younger generations are kind of,
Yeah,
you
I know
know,
what you're saying there.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Not that
yeah.
I'm like super old or anything, but you know, I still feel like they're making it to where it's like, hey, it's okay to like, you know, 50 different genres of music. Like that's
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
You
Well,
know.
yeah, and in some cultures, like it's with country and hip hop, right? They're similar with the fact that like if you live in an area that likes country, loves country, or an area that loves hip hop, and you don't, you could almost be like rejected by the society of that city or town.
It's absolutely true. Yes.
You know, like people are just, I do not like Brad.
Yep.
He does not like the music I like.
Yeah.
You're not
Nope.
friends.
So yeah, exactly. You're like, oh, he likes rap music. I don't like him at
Yeah.
all. Bad guy. You know, like.
So I saw there was a little bit of that, you know, poor taste in me when I was really young, and then I lightened up by getting to know people and understanding it, and now my life is more enriched.
Do your art, right?
Do your art.
Oh, so yeah, let's talk about do your art, because I know that's why you're here. I love I love the title.
Thanks.
And it what I like about it is it kind of leaves it to such a perception that anyone can kind of take it as what they will. You know,
Mhm.
my take on it is it's just like, do whatever it is that you think is art, do it.
Yeah.
And there's things that we don't think about that really are art forms, but
Hmm.
they're not considered to be art. They don't, because it's not music, or it's not
Hmm.
painting, or it's not
Absolutely.
filmmaking. But really, someone who
Like connects with children.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Someone who
Yeah.
connects with children. That really is an art.
It's an art. Yeah.
Truly, because not everybody can do
Some
that.
people are born with a skill. Some people have to learn it. Some people it comes naturally. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, so was that the intention with like do your art and just you know, no one don't care about what others are saying about it, kind of thing, or
It really came from me being saddened by seeing so many of my talented friends have it be like outstanding guitar players, outstanding illustrators, that like it's like mutant X-Men powers, like total like comic book powers, or singers slowly kind of hang up their super suit because of the demands of America right now with paying your bills, and it's really hard to keep up. And you know, people don't realize it wasn't always like this. It wasn't always just like constantly trying to keep up and pay your bills. There was a little bit of a breath. You could kind of have a little time to yourself. And I've just seen so many people hang it up, but it's not just hanging it up. It's hanging up because they think they weren't good enough. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't good enough. And, you know, I'm not going to get, you know, too into it, but, you know, there's just a reality of class inequality, right? And, you know, the fortunate, the kids, the people with the fortunate parents or connected parents, they're going to get it first. They're going to get all the breaks first. And that's fine. That's totally fine. I'm not putting them down, but I just want all these other artists that are hanging up their suits thinking they're not good enough to realize it's not that you're not good enough. It's just that the deck is stacked and they're going to get it first. Do you know what I mean? But to give up your power, your like the beauty in your soul because of that, I've just seen it so many times that's where it came from. It's like you don't need global success, you don't need financial success, you don't need all these prats to tell you you're good. You're good. Do it. Just keep doing it your whole life, you know? So that's what it is. Yeah.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I could not agree more. It really is sad to see people just give it up because they can't get that break, or they can't get into that machine of whatever form of art it is. So they just give up. And and of course with the way the economy is anymore, making ends meet, everything just keeps going up and up and up. And the wages aren't going along with it, you know. I like every single year my health care goes up. And so is my wage going up? No.
They say keep people busy so they don't have time to stick up for themselves. But you know, like other countries, this is a thing that we don't understand. Like we have in our constitution to support the progress of arts and science. You know, it's in there. That's why we have copyright law and everything. But you know, you don't really see it on a day-to-day basis. You know, I mean, any kid leaving high school going into college tells their parents they're going to be an artist, then you know that those parents probably, you know, go see their friends and they're like, Beth, I'm so sorry, I heard that Robin's going to be an artist. I'm so sorry. It's a known disappointment, right? And so that's terrible, because like we said earlier, music identifies everybody. Like it's the number one thing we kind of think about ourselves. What kind of music and art do we like? So even though we're giving people self-awareness and self-purpose, if you will, can be better said, but we don't value those people. But then you go to Canada, right? All these other countries, and they put their money where their mouth is. Bands can get their van and tour bus paid for by the government.
Really?
Like, we just don't know these things. We always think that like Russia and China, those silly, citizens don't know what it's like out there, but it's happening to us. And so, you know, they're like, yeah, you need a tour bus? Yeah, just fill out this paperwork and go entertain the country. What a lovely artist that was. Not here.
So if Big D never plays the United States again, we'll know why.
Oh yeah. Well, especially some people keep saying to me these days, like, yo, you excited to get out there and tour? Well, I'm excited to play shows. Like I'm excited to be in venues or basements or wherever and see the listeners and have a good time. But no, I'm not really excited to go tour around crazy land. You know what I mean? Like I went on tour after 9/11 to Europe and the UK and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And there was a weird thing in the air, you know, like there was you could tell, like, you know, people would come, I call it fight o'clock. That's about 1:45 a.m.
Okay.
And, you know, like when people like are realizing maybe they aren't going to find that special someone. So, and, you know, people would come up to us and try to start fights and be like, don't you think you deserve it? Don't you think it's your time? But what I'm getting at is there was this aggressive energy. And it wasn't that fun it was culturally interesting, but it wasn't that fun of a tour. But you know, with everything going on in the United States over the last 4 or 5 years, it's I can feel that same energy of you know, like, give me a reason. You're my enemy before my friend. So no, I'm excited to play shows, but not really excited to cart myself around crazy land.
Yeah, and I would imagine probably at this point, when you are playing shows, you're probably not extensively touring. You're probably doing a lot of like fly-in dates, maybe, and things like that. Or
no, those would be more like one-offs that work.
One-offs, yeah.
But we more. You're right. The days of doing 2.5 months across the United States are over. But we would break it up into like 2 or 3 weekers, like East Coast,
Mhm.
West Coast, the middle, you know. But I hope everything's kind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I hope so too, and I'm wishing the best for you. Yeah, and then so there's that, and then still trying to get out of this pandemic too, and it's just like
Mm,
it's just such a weird time. And
yeah.
that's really all you can say. Like it's just weird. And
Yeah.
I heard some other artists kind of bring up the whole 9/11 reference, saying there are some similarities there.
There's
You
just
know.
there's something in the air. Yeah. Someone else noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember
Just
who it was, but
this, like, ooh. Yeah,
mhm.
well, I mean, not to get too into it, but the turncoats with the Capitol riots, I mean, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
That is,
yep. I absolutely the fact that that happened. It's like, wow, I thought those days were over, and it's
yeah,
like,
I know.
no, I guess not. You
But you know what's
know.
funny? It's like anytime someone says like excited to go on tour, they should play a little of that footage. And you're like, I don't know. Are you excited to go on tour?
And then the COVID and all
Yeah.
that still being a thing,
Yeah, we
and
almost have like Candide and the Black Plague. It's like yeah, we should go back and interview minstrels during the Black Plague and be like, "How's tour going?" And they're like, "Well, I don't know." It's so sketchy.
or just borrow the DeLorean from
Yeah,
Marty and Doc and see if we can see if we can make that happen.
yeah. Well, I have something to mention.
Yes, please.
The name of the podcast, the new record, has a little connection.
Okay.
We mentioned pizza 3 times in the record.
Really?
One of the tracks is called "How About a Pizza."
Dude.
I know.
I mean, it's so that's awesome. So it's even more perfect that you're on the Pop Punk and Pizza podcast.
Yeah.
Why so many? Was there a lot of pizza eating during the making of this record?
Well, it's like I like to garden samples, like as in music and hip hop and rap, they've always done, and trip hop and stuff like that, DJ Shadow stuff. But also like the Quentin Tarantino, back in '94 when he was explaining that he likes old B movies and stuff. Like I was listening, and so I've been watching and all the old '60s B movies from like Blast Off Girls, Just the Hell of It, She Devils on Wheels. I love it, and so I kind of garden funny quotes from them and put them together for the record. And there's just one charming, hilarious, 2 different guys, but this guy he's the guy who talks to you when you're at a drive-in waiting in between the movies, like, well, don't forget, we got candy bars inside.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I've never laughed by myself louder than listening to this guy. Like, I really want to meet his family and be like, your grandfather rules. Just meet them. I want to meet his
Be like, who
grandchildren.
the heck is that guy?
Yeah.
Oh, that's Davey.
Yeah, it's Davey. Davey driving? But so he mentions it a couple times, and beer is, Pat the Ribbon commercials, which we've always liked. So it'd be just kind of like pizza, we'll have a beer. And so it's just fun not affirmations, but like, just fun things to sprinkle in the record.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome, man. What kind of, I mean, you've obviously traveled all over the world. What's some pizza you've had that you still think of to this day? You're like, oh man, that pizza in, Miami was so good. I don't know. It could be from anywhere.
I would say the one that I remember the most is Wermelskirchen, Germany, which is a small area. The word starts with a W. It was just one of those, gutter punky kind of, squats. And it was just kind of like they made it. And I remember he had so many different choices. And I think it was also a point where we were really hungry on tour. So like, I just remember being like, when the clouds part and the sun flares.
Yes, and there's the spotlight on the.
Yeah, I just remember being like, I'm going to eat so much of this, and then it just said different things on it. Just things you don't often find. So I think that was.
Do you remember what was on it? Like what kind of toppings?
Like there you don't want to say kielbasa, but it was like, or it's about some sort of sausage kielbasa was on it.
Okay.
But they catered to everyone. You know, we have vegans and vegetarians, and they just had everything for everyone. It was just a really nice hour.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty remarkable that they're like, yeah, no problem. Yep, we can do that. You know.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of places it's like, I can't, really accommodate that. But
And this is another example of the difference between, countries and stuff. When you go to Europe, and sometimes, they have just like a system, like in the UK, a system that's like, this is Sven. He's going to take care of you. He's going to bring you over here. But we're not talking like fancy. We're talking like squats. Even if you're dealing with a squat, they're still just hospitable to the max.
Mm-hmm.
And just care about you, understand you, like, meaning you're tired. Do you have any clothes you need to wash? You can go here. Oh, your trombone player looks sick. We should probably just take him to our friend's house where he can rest, and maybe we'll bring him to hospital later. Just like, just really good people.
Yeah, and it seems very simple, down to earth,
Yeah.
kind of vibe, and not making just, you need something? Okay, let's go there. Let's
And then
do
you go
that.
to Florida, and you play like your last chord. You're like, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. You swear? Sorry.
No, you can swear. Oh yeah,
Okay,
no, yeah, you're all good. And
We
then
have a disco tech coming in here in 10 minutes. Get that shit off.
yes, yeah, that's right. You play those venues that have like the late night club shows, and you're
Yeah.
like, what place is this?
Yeah.
We're playing punk rock, and the next thing I know, in an hour, it's gonna be like this. Yeah,
Why is the door guy suddenly really mad at me?
yeah, exactly. And like, get out of here. And you're like, hey, our trombone player is sick. Do you know?
I just
No,
busted my butt.
I don't know anyone, or I don't know any places you can take him. Like,
Not my problem.
yeah, exactly, not my problem. Just get your shit off my stage, Oh man.
But to people listening, I obviously love. I'm saying differences about art, but I obviously love our weather, and I love staying here, and I
love Florida.
And I've had some lovely swims at night in their ocean.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not all bad. I know Florida Florida takes a beating, but it's all fun and games.
Yeah.
So, do your art. I know you guys are doing a hometown Halloween show for that.
We got that booked before the lockdown, so we got to keep it.
Oh, good. Thank gosh for that. Is it sold out, or is there tickets still for sale on that?
That's funny you ask, because before getting on, it's almost sold out.
Okay. That's kind of what I was wondering, because I thought I saw that tickets were still available, and I'm like, I bet that won't last much longer. So
yeah, I don't know. We've never been like Sam. I'm going to a Sam Blackchurch show and Only Living Witness show this Friday, and they're one of those bands that it's like it's sold out before it's even online.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't think we've ever necessarily. I think our fans take their time. They're like, we're gonna go. It's gonna be fun, and then they might get disappointed. But we're not like, like, you only got 2 seconds left. It's over. You didn't get it.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. So we're getting close to time here, Dave. So yeah, do your art. It's through. It's coming out via Side One Dummy.
Yep.
I know that. Where else can people get the? I'm sure there's wax available and all that stuff.
Yep. Let's see. October 22nd is when it's going to go on sale, and there's going to be vinyl, and the packaging for the vinyl is outstanding. I think people are going to be like really, really, really happy about it. I don't see how anyone wouldn't be happy about it.
Right? I absolutely agree. Are the pre-orders up now for that?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I thought.
And actually this morning, I got the CD, not the vinyl yet, but I got the CD brought to my house. And so that was quite a Christmas morning.
Sweet. There's nothing like that, man. Did you blast it throughout the whole house, or?
Yes, I did. And it's for some reason you have to play it again once you have it on a physical thing,
Yeah.
But I usually carry the CD around with me for about 2 weeks, like, just in case I have another moment to just stare at it.
Yeah, right? Yeah, because you worked on
Yeah.
this, and now it's like actually in front of your face,
Yep, I put
and
like
it
our little posters on the wall right when I got them, the stickers and the magnets up. I'm like, it's here, it's real.
yeah, it feels good to live your art as well
Yeah.
as create it. There's a whole nother process that goes with, living,
Hmm.
actually living it. So I'm happy that you're able to do that through this crazy, time
Yeah.
we're in, and that you actually get to have like a special, record release party along with it too.
Yeah, it's really nice. All artists know it's really freeing to get ideas for a certain project officially out of your head and it's officially into the world. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So you get to kind of like rest that thought and get on to the next one.
Yep. Yeah, then it's on to the next thing, and you can take a breath. You're like,
Yeah.
I feel
That
so
only
much
took a
better.
million years.
Yeah, right. Yeah, whatever. Sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 5, sometimes
Yeah.
it's 10, sometimes more. Yeah, or a lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anything else about Big D and the Kids Table, or do your art, or anything else you're working on currently?
I would just say, the record's going to be coming out soon. We're going to be on tour hopefully in the spring. The band backs up our backup singers, the Doped Up Dollies, and the Doped Up Dollies are going to have a really amazing single come out this winter called Na 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 Na, N-A-N-A-N-A-N-A, and it's really awesome.
I love
Um,
that.
and just anyone out there, just remember, if you have a certain skill or love, just keep doing it. I mean, that's the secret. Make sure you're happy. Make sure in this crazy life you're putting time aside to do the things somehow that you love, and you don't need money and you don't need other people's approval for it to be good. And just
Yeah,
keep doing it.
yeah. Follow your passion is what
Hmm.
I say. And that's always the best way to go.
And it's the only. I mean, nobody died going, I'm really glad I quit my art. You
It's
know?
it's always the exact opposite. It's like, oh, I should have never
Yeah.
stopped
Yeah.
doing that one thing. I
Yeah.
loved it so much, but then I gave it up. And
Yeah.
it's always no, yeah, no one says that.
Never been on a headstone.
No, no, never. And I don't think it ever will be, So,
I'm really glad I just did data entry and I gave up painting.
right? Like, oh, I'm so glad I became an accountant, even though I hate it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I hate it more than anything in the world, but I'm so glad.
That was the right decision.
Yeah, that was right, exactly, because I'm so happy.
Yeah. Just don't let a different group of people enjoy themselves, You
Yeah,
should enjoy yourself too.
absolutely. All right, well, David, Davey.
You can call me anything.
Thank you so much for being on Pop Punk and Pizza.
Thank you, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Thanks.
Woo.
Bye. Okay, give another round of applause to David Mcwane of Big D and the Kids Table. That was so much fun talking to him earlier today. And also talking with Matt Sullivan earlier from Title Holder here on this episode of Pop Punk and Pizza. And that completes the episode. I'm Jacques Lamour. I hope you had such a blast, or had as much fun as I did on this episode. Please catch up on previous episodes at poppunkpizzapod.com. You can also find us pretty much wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. Drop us a positive rating and review on Apple Podcasts if you could. It really actually does help and go a long way. You can also buy our fancy 5th year anniversary t-shirt with the Chinese lucky cat on it eating the pizza. You can also find that at poppunkpizzapod.com. And if you use promo code POPPUNK at checkout, you actually get $2 off your order. So that can, it's a little bit of help, right? And then also social medias, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at poppunkpizzapod. Show our title sponsor, Pop Punk Takeout, some love. You can now pre-order the October box, which is going to feature What Makes Sense and also the Pizza Beard Party. Who doesn't love pizza and beards? Just make sure you don't put the beard in the pizza, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, I will talk to you next month, technically. It's hard to believe it's going to be October already, but I am so ready for Halloween. My son, he's going to be Darth Vader, and I'm going to be a stormtrooper. So it's going to be a really short Darth Vader and then like a really tall stormtrooper. It's going to be awesome. That reminds me, I need to go order that. So I better go I better go order that costume right now before I forget. Have a great rest of the night, great rest of the day, whatever time of day it is that you're listening to this, and just know that I'm very thankful for you. And remember that you do matter, you are loved, and whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, I thoroughly believe in you, all right? I'll talk to you next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time on our live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, or I'll just talk to you on any podcast platform.
Hey, hello, it's nice to meet ya. Hey, come in and have a slice of pizza. Hey, hello, it's nice to meet ya. Hey, come in and have a slice of pizza.